Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Bolt.
Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out getgoodracing.com. I've coached hundreds of drivers, from real-life racers to sim enthusiasts, who experience rapid improvement after just one session. And while investing in top-notch hardware is great, imagine how much more you can elevate your experience by adding coaching to the mix. My methods are practical, aiming to break down complex concepts into easily digestible bits that are simple to understand. You can find reviews of the sessions I've conducted on the Fiverr link provided in the video description. Let's elevate your racing skills together.
Good evening, race fans. Welcome back to the League Zero Racing Series, sponsored by Inca Salsa, the premier Formula iRacing League. We're at Algarve here tonight, and looking forward to seeing what these drivers can do on the brand new track with iRacing. As always, I'm your host, James East, accompanied by Mr. Norman King, as we roll straight into the grid here tonight. Finley Fitzsimmons starting on pole. Jaden Calloway starting second. We've got Elliot Cotti starting third. Ray Aguilar starting fourth. Nick Peterson starting fifth. AJ Brenner starting sixth. Stephen Lakota, Simply Steve starting seventh. Jazzy Zuhair's here. He's starting eighth. Leo Dalmas, the smooth talking Frenchman, starting ninth. Jace Meyer starting 10th. David Iezzi starting 11th. Gale Rolls starting 12th. Cycle it on back. We've got Xavier Zanave, the Flying Frenchman, starting 13th. Carl Hartwell starting 14th. Arturo Mayorga, the AI Wiz, starting 15th. Eric Guillory starting 16th. And Jason Bagby will round out the 17-car grid here today. Norman, I know you're working on some hardware stuff behind the scenes. How's that going? And are you just about ready for today's feature event?
Oh, yes, I'm very excited for today's event. We are loading in right now, and we should be joining you in the booth live here any minute.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. So we're going to start tonight off with our sprint race. Has about half the laps, usually has about twice the action. Didn't really have the opportunity to hear any drivers say just how comfortable they were coming out here tonight to Algarve. A new circuit for these drivers, so going to be interesting to see who can get dialed in the fastest. Finley Fitzsimmons, number 16, obviously was feeling great, put it in the top spot. That's a lot of talent in the top five. Fitzsimmons, Callaway, Cotti, Aguilar. Nick Peterson has snaked his way in a little bit, so a lot of fast drivers here. As looks like a few of them are kind of biding their time before they take the grid.
Yeah, probably getting nervous about this brand new track that we're running at here tonight.
Now, a few drivers were saying they definitely enjoyed the Super Formula Lights here a little bit more than they were the full-blown Super Formula race cars, saying that the more mechanical grip, the slower, lower horsepower car, it was a lot of fun to drive it, but here in the big cars, kind of a handful to hold on to. So I'm curious to see how turn one, lap one's going to go. Looks like Elliot Cotti has made his way to the grid. So, I know what it is, Norman. Finley Fitzsimmons, the pole setter, had a pit road penalty, a start from pit road penalty. So Fitzsimmons qualified on pole, will not be taking the grid here. He's got to start from pit road.
Oh, dang. And also to give some information, this is Portimao, is what most people know this track as.
You're going to have to correct me several times here, because that's going to be a new one for me up here in the booth. So we're waiting for the timer to click off here, since Fitzsimmons is going to have to start from pit road. I kind of joked with Fitzsimmons during the practice session. He asked for clarification on his penalty, and I pulled it up here for him. And I was like, you know what? Go out there. Qualify on pole. Prove a point. Sure enough, the kid did it, but the lights are off, and we are underway here. Is now Jaden Calloway going to be handed kind of the unofficial pole position as he's chased by Aguilar and his teammate, or rival, I should say, Elliot Cotti. Aguilar is his teammate, but it looks like turn one's going to go relatively smooth here, Norman.
Yeah. Sorry, I had another computer glitch. Okay, I think we're good to go now. Sorry, guys. Yes, we are live now. All my monitors were switching between screens.
Oh, and we've got something going on. The defending, the previous champ, Jaden Calloway, pointed the wrong direction. Finley Fitzsimmons is going to get tied up in that one as well. So here we go. We're starting to wad up some race cars.
It looks like everyone's still rolling, though.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to try and limp it around here to pit road. And the reminder to the fans, if you take a tow during the sprinter feature, you are out for that event. So it looks like everybody's going to try and limp it around the circuit as Peterson and Brenner take an alternative line here. That's going to allow Shazi Zuhair a striking opportunity. And as I say that, Zuhair goes for a spin.
Yeah, that new gravel physics helped him there, slow down before he hit the wall.
Yeah, it used to be back in the day, if you hit the gravel or the grass, these iRacing machines would just keep on sliding. But now we've got some proper slowdown physics, it looks like. As that's Steven Lakota, Simply Steve, he's missing the front wing of that car.
Yeah, I was going to say, during that spin, I saw it on the track, was going to try to get that mentioned to you. Yes, he is missing his front wing and did not come to pit road to get that replaced. I think that's going to be a bad decision.
Yeah, even though it's a shorter sprint race, 15 laps, that's a long time to be running on without any front aero in a very aero-dependent raceway. Looking a little bit further back, I see David Iezzi, Carl Hartwell going side by side. This is going to be the battle for 10th. Hartwell, if he can hold on to it here, that is going to be his 4th spot gain. But Iezzi, the number 29, looking to fire it back deep on the brakes, still side by side. Maybe a little bit of contact there, but looks like both drivers going to get through that one clean.
Yeah, it looks like back up front, we got Brenner here trying to run down Peterson. We're about a half a second separating them.
Both Peterson and Brenner up 2 spots early on here tonight. Brenner keeping the pressure on the red and white 24 of Peterson. But we've got another incident reported here, Norman, and it's going to be David Iezzi, Carl Hartwell. They were running very close just a half lap prior. So let's see what happens. Does Hartwell throw it away? No, it's David Iezzi tries to make something happen. And then Hartwell, with no room to go, gives a little bit of a bump to Iezzi. And that's going to be more and more drivers with problems. As
Iezzi is without a side pod now, so I think his race has come to an end. We got another car. Is that okay? Rolls without a wing coming to get it fixed.
So hopefully these drivers are able to come down pit road, have the crew quickly clip on some more bodywork so they can get out there and salvage a points night. As where did Arturo go?
Yeah, he just got loose and slid off the track backwards.
So folks in on the number 55 here.
And I don't know what you call that paint scheme.
It's a multicolored Jack Daniels painted race car, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like some type of ice cream with a frog on the side.
Neapolitan? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Neapolitan. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
There we go. So Arturo's going to have an uphill battle. Luckily, no damage on the number 55 machine, and he gets a freebie there as Jason Bagby pushes off track in the 63. Bagby looks for a safe opportunity to rejoin. He's going to lose spots to Hartwell and Iezzi here. And a little bit further up front, looks like Jace Meyer under fire from the smooth Frenchman Leo Dalmas. Dalmas piloting the number 21. He's up 3 spots. Meyer up 5 so far, but it's going to be the flying Frenchman, Xavier Zanave, running 7th. Our current hard charger, he's been able to gain 6 positions in this sprint. And Norman, with it being a new track, a little bit lighter field than we were expecting, this could be a big points night for several drivers if they can just keep their noses clean.
Yes, and we have Antonio Biante, who is not here. He decided to take a vacation during the middle of the season. So, or at the end of the season, technically, this is our 3rd to last race. So, he will take a hard hit in the points as he was sitting 2nd coming into the night.
Yeah, that's got to be gutting for the Italian Stallion, seeing that top 2 getting pulled away. No, I mean, no matter what, he's going to fall out of that position after tonight. So, unfortunately for Antonio, well, I guess fortunately he's on vacation. Unfortunately, that will dwindle the points dream that he had coming into tonight. As keep an eye out as well here, Norman. Jaden Calloway, sitting back in 8th, was involved in one of those early incidents. Set the fastest lap last time by a 125.62. Has already worked his way back up into 8th. He's about 2.5 seconds back from Zanave, but closing very, very quickly here. And I also see Elliot Cotti running second, starting to close the gap to Aguilar, your race leader.
Yes, where he's dropped that below a second. So that'd be huge for his team right now with Fitzsimmons sitting back in 10th and Jaden being up in, what is that, 8th right now. So Ray and Jaden have the advantage as team points go, but Elliott could become a spoiler for that.
Yeah, Elliott looks like he's waking up the pace. He just set the fastest lap as well. And he is closed in with about 7/10 off the back of Aguilar, who's pouting that number 1, our defending champ, wants to start tonight off strong and see what he can do. But Elliott seems to be having really good pace here. Now, a quick note, AJ Brenner did work his way up into that final podium spot, but Peterson keeping the pressure there on the Texas native. The number 80 machine surely can see Peterson looming behind, knowing that Peterson's going to give it his all here and try and lock up a third or better.
Yeah, I thought Nick had dropped off the pace there, but it looks like I don't know if he had to cool his tires or what. It'd be interesting to understand how he's rung him back in here tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a race of attrition thing, I believe, with the tire. We've already seen a whole lot of small lockups, quite a few solo incidents that kind of got exponentially worse with the more drivers were around them. But it looks to me like we're starting to see some racing develop all across the circuit here.
Yeah, I've not driven this track yet, but this track reminds me a lot of Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama, which I mention a lot because it's my home track, but a lot of blind apexes and off-camber turns here.
Interesting you say that. When I was talking to the drivers, I said it was very similar, a combination of Road Atlanta and Red Bull Ring. So it seems like we both have very similar thoughts here, comparing it to the Southeast tracks that we're familiar with. Oh, another incident reported. This time it's Leo Delmas, number 21. There goes his teammate Zanave, as Delmas falls now back to 8th.
Yeah, with tracks like this, what you would think is a normal racing line normally is not your racing line because the car is loaded in an awkward position, pushing you offline. So you have to open your turns up and hit later apexes or early apexes and not hit the actual apex of these turns.
Yeah, exactly. It's I don't want to say unfamiliar, but definitely not what your body naturally wants to do around here, the circuit, to try and find that fast line. Very impressed with Peterson here, able to keep Brenner within the sights of that number 24, staying right about a half second back from that number 80 machine. And up front, I'm very curious to see if Elliott can catch up to Aguilar, and if that might slow the pace down a little bit. Now, granted, the top two drivers just shy of 8 seconds ahead of third place back, but we've seen it before where two top-tier drivers start duking it out, slowing the pace, and then you've got somebody else joining by the end of it. And again, I can't stress enough, Callaway, the first driver into a 1-minute 24-second lap time. He is ripping back in the 6th place position.
Yeah, it looks like Nick Peterson stuck his nose out, but it just wasn't there. The problem with Ray and Elliott getting into it is Nick and Brenner are fighting, as Nick looks like he's going to go for the path from the inside to the outside, but the outside's not going to hold.
Yeah, Peterson's just kind of looking for any opportunity he can here, maybe trying to force Brenner into some sort of mistake. Now, these guys are slowing their own pace down a little bit as the top two continue to pull away, now about 8.5 seconds ahead of this fierce battle for third. We're right at the halfway mark of this opening sprint race as it's Aguilar, Cotti, Brenner, 1, 2, 3, with Peterson and Meyer rounding out the top 5. And I've got to think here, Norman, I think Peterson's going to keep kind of throwing a little bit of jabs here at Brenner to see what he can measure up and then try and set something up here within the back half of the race. I don't think he's going to settle for 4th.
I don't think he will either. I think your best bet is to try to set up coming down this front stretch here at this track. The only other hope you have is to force someone into a mistake. You have a small back stretch, but it just doesn't look like it's going to be long enough to get a good enough run to try to make a move.
Yeah, I'm fully agreed with you there. You saw Brenner. Oh, a big tail slapper for Brenner. That might be the gift. Exactly. That might be the gift Peterson was looking for. He's going to dive it in deep on the brakes here. Side by side we go. Peterson grabs a little bit of curbing. Brenner tries to carry as much corner speed as he can. Still side by side. Brenner showing ahead by 0.02 of a second. This is the type of racing we've come to expect from these drivers. Brenner able to defend the third place position, but there's blood in the water, and Peterson's not going to give him a chance to breathe here.
No, I think Peterson needed to track out a little bit on that turn when he was on the inside, that final inside turn. Track out a little bit and squeeze him a little bit more. We would have a much better run down that little straightaway to try to hold that position on the outside.
So Peterson's going to have to try and build back up some steam here. But now I think he knows he's got the pace. Just needs to keep pressuring Brenner here. And one has to ask as well, did Brenner put a little bit more heat in his tires there than he was expecting? He was able to pull about a half-second gap up over Peterson. But let's pan about two and a half seconds back behind those two. There's Jaden Calloway getting another spot, this time against Jace Meyer. So Calloway fought his way all the way back up to 5th here and is keeping that momentum up.
Yeah, I'm going to try to run down to the paddock and see if I can't get some of these guys who are out to give us some information on what happened to their race tonight.
Excellent. Sounds good, as we'll be watching the battle still developing between Brenner and Peterson, running 3rd and 4th. And we got a report Gale Rolls, the number 19 machine, hopped on the driver radio and said, hey, sorry for the incident that I might have caused. It's his League Zero debut here. So not the learning opportunity he was looking for, but hopefully we see Rolls back out on track for the future. Still have 15 of our 17 entries out on circuit, as it was Gale Rolls, Eric Guillory have to be forced into an early retirement. 5 laps left to go here in the opening sprint race of the night. Elliot Cotti doing whatever he can to try and track down Aguilar, but not really chipping away at that half-second advantage the number 1 machine currently has.
Yeah, and Brenner and Peterson are going to have to watch out, because if they keep battling like this, I think Callaway will be in the running for a podium here.
And Callaway, I know he would not be, I was going to say he'd be ecstatic for a 3rd, all things considered. I know Callaway well enough to know that 3rd is not in his vocabulary normally, but surely he could recognize the importance of being able to salvage a large amount of points if he can get around these 2 drivers, Brenner and Peterson, who've been having a non-stop battle for 3rd. They're still separated by about 1/4 of a second, but keep an eye on the relative. Jaden Calloway about 2.3 seconds back. He's been by far and away one of the fastest drivers here tonight. The only driver to get down to a 1:24 here in the sprint. I think with 5 laps, let's call it about 4.25 left to go here. I think if anybody can redeem themselves and grab a podium, it could definitely be Callaway.
Yeah, I think, I don't think this is over just yet. I think Nick is going to have to try to say something here on Brenner, and that's going to open the door for Callaway. And we've seen how well he is at racing, so I think he'll be able to make a move.
Yeah, Callaway, I'm willing to bet he will not be hesitating at all. If he sees any opening, he's going to stick his nose in. Now, Callaway does not have the draft advantage that Brenner and Peterson have, running nose to tail. However, that is kind of negated every time Brenner or Peterson hop out of line and start to do battle. Callaway's able to grab fistfuls of time to catch back up and reel in those 2 drivers battling for 3rd. There's Peterson. He's about 0.8 back from AJ Brenner. And I'm watching to see Callaway, not quite in the draft yet, but I think he's going to interject himself into this podium party by the time it's all said and done.
Oh yeah, I fully believe that. I got talk with Rolls here, and he said that some guy spun in front of him, and the car's checked up in front of him, and he takes full responsibility for getting into the guy in front of him tonight. So
Well,
the car had too much damage, and he had to retire.
Well, hey, tip of the hat to him, though, realizing, hey, there was something I might have been able to do here to avoid making that situation worse. So, well done to the newcomer, having the right attitude coming into this one. So, always cool to see. As here we go, Norman. Jaden Calloway, 3/4 of a second off the back of Nick Peterson. I think we're about to have a battle for third here between Brenner, Peterson, and Calloway.
Yeah, it looks like Peterson's starting to drop off from Brenner, too. I wonder if he's starting to watch his mirrors a little bit more.
Yeah, no room for mistake here. Just a few laps left to go in the sprint. And a reminder to the fans, the finishing order for the sprint sets where you're starting for the feature. Now, we haven't talked about him in a while here. He started on pole. He qualified on pole, had a start from the pits, was involved in a lap 1 incident. Fitzsimmons has crawled his way back up to 8th place here tonight. So another driver overcoming adversity. Fitzsimmons did have to come down pit road after the opening lap and get that car hammered back into shape. So if these guys can keep the cars together for the feature, we've got a lot of talent that we might have the opportunity to see go wheel to wheel here. As oh boy, Peterson's on the defensive, and Calloway making quick work, quickly moving that number 37 up into 4th, and he's going to keep his eyes forward on AJ Brenner sitting in 3rd. I think we're going to have a race here.
I do too. I don't know if Brenner's going to be able to do much to Calloway. Remember, Brenner runs as a satellite team with these guys. It could be something where Brenner just lets him go by if he's able to get there, but it looks like Nick's going to come back at him right here.
See, Peterson's really gotten a lot more aggressive over the past couple of seasons, and he's got the talent and ability to back it up. They're really cool to see Peterson more in the mix up here in the top 5, if not the top 10, week in and week out. Still fairly close amongst these top 3, but the top 2 drivers, Aguilar and Cotti, 14 seconds ahead of this battle. It's going to be interesting to see if we get a clean start in the feature, if anybody's going to be able to hang with those top 2 drivers, because they are by far and away just checked out at this point.
Yeah, Ray was able to dip into the 124's last lap, but I don't think it counts because I think he had an incident.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not sure. I show a 124.92 as his best lap of the race, so I think that was recorded, but still not able to dethrone Calloway with that fastest lap. But definitely, I mean, these guys are absolutely putting these super performance limits. And there we go. Aguilar, a 124.826, does so clean, and he sets the pace with the fastest lap here tonight.
Yeah, and Elliott with a 124.75, but was not clean.
So these drivers are pushing the limit here. And what that means for the fans at home, if you have an off track or any sort of incident on the lap, it does not count for that fastest lap of the race. It invalidates it. So it's still going to be Aguilar holding on to the fastest clean lap of the race. We've got the battle here for third. Brenner versus Calloway, the satellite versus the A-team. Is Brenner going to make it easy, or is Calloway going to have to do it the old-fashioned way? We unfurl the white flag at the start-finish line for Aguilar. And
yeah,
Aguilar...
block up, too.
And Aguilar still only having about a half-second advantage over Cotti, so the pace very similar up front. But all eyes on Brenner and Calloway with bated breath. You never want to see teammates or satellite team members involved in an incident with each other, so I think both drivers are going to be a little bit careful how they navigate this situation. Oh, did Brenner just leave an opening, though? Yes, he did. There goes Calloway. Brenner fires back in the inside line. Calloway trying to carry the little bit more corner speed. Brenner, I think the question is answered. Not going to make it easy for the satellite team member here as they're on the final lap here of today's sprint.
Yeah, I'm still up front watching the leaders go at it. It looks like Ray is just able to hold Elliott off here.
Now, as Callaway and Brenner go side by side, there's a little bit of lap traffic ahead of them here. I can't tell. I think that may either be Shazi Zuhair. No, it's Jason Bagby, and the number 63 machine hops over to the side. Peterson staying within these two drivers battling for third as well. He's hoping for a mistake up front. And speaking of up front, Aguilar must have had a bobble. Elliott, also has a little bit of a bobble, as it looked like Elliott was going for it there.
Yeah, as we're down to the last few turns. As Elliott tried to look to the outside, but Ray was able to close it off as they come through the second to last turn. As we're in the final turn here, I don't think he's going to have a run here to get him. Ray goes to try to defend. He's not going to have time.
Yeah, Aguilar makes it happen 7/100ths of a second. Elliott, though, set the fastest lap of the race during that battle. A clean 124.82, 100th of a second faster than Aguilar. And looks like Callaway, a hard-fought redemption, gives a little bit of a wiggle, and Callaway sets the fastest lap of the race by a lot, a 124.57. So what a comeback story for Callaway. Able to finish up on the podium, getting that fastest lap of the race, and a little bit of redemption on that one.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a signal to the rest of this field that he worked his way back and sets the fastest lap, that he's here to win the main event.
We're going to try and get these top three drivers up here to victory lane. That's Aguilar, Cotti, Callaway, 1, 2, 3. Brenner and Peterson were able to round out the top five, both having a great race between themselves. As we wait for a few more drivers, there's simply Steve Lakota crossing the line. And looks like Carl Hartwell, David Iezzi still in a battle here for 11th. Let's see, can Hartwell hold on to it a half second up from Iezzi? It looks like he will. And just all around, a great race amongst these competitors.
Yeah, there was battles throughout this whole field here in the sprint race.
So looks like we've got everybody in the waiting room ready to go. So I'll ask a question. Mr. Norman will ask him a question. And then I'll ask him a question. So we'll start things off with Jaden Callaway, the number 37. Jaden, what a comeback story. A rough start to the night, able to finish back in third, but most importantly, showing the field you have the pace with that fastest lap on the final lap.
Yeah, it was fun. I ended up clipping the I cut the turn a little too much in the hairpin and clipped the curb, and it spun me around. But yeah, it was a fun race. Managed to make up some positions, had a lot of fights and overtakes, so I'm happy.
So what is your plan to start this feature race tonight? Are you going to try to push at the start, or are you going to try to sit back and hope that the speed that you were showing there at the end comes through?
I'm gonna try to get ahead of Elliott if I can, and I'll sit behind Ray and play the team game, or we'll just have to see how the pace works out. But hopefully we can make this a 1-2 and work together.
Well, Jaden, good to have you back up here in the top three. Before I let you go, get ready for the feature. Who do you want to give a shout out to that helped make it happen here?
I'm gonna shout out my friend Fabian. He's not feeling well, but he always does a great job helping us out. So I'm gonna shout him out.
Awesome. Jaden, best of luck out there, buddy. We'll be rooting for you.
Thank you.
That was Jaden Callaway bringing it home. And third up next, Mr. Elliott Cotti piloting the number 23. Elliott, a great race, great pace, and a lot of fun watching you and Aguilar try and figure out who's the fastest throughout the circuit.
Yeah, I mean, it's so close at the end there. It was enjoyable, but he was gaining like 2 attempts through some corners. I was gaining. It was going to come down to the wire at the end. So yeah, it was fun.
Elliott, with your teammate starting 8th in this feature race and you being sandwiched in between 2 teammates, what is the plan forwards for this feature race to try to attack Ray and Jaden here?
Is Jaden in third?
Yes.
Oh, all right, that makes it a bit more difficult. Yeah, probably the strategy. Just it's going to be in the tires, I think. They were dropping off a little bit towards the end there. I could feel it, but yeah, we'll figure something out. Got to catch him out with the tires, you know.
Well, Elliot, I know you've got your crew chief Salvador in the back pocket, so hopefully you guys are able to figure that one out and put together a good result. Before I let you go, get ready for this feature. Who all do you want to give a shout to that helped make the second place possible for you?
Yeah, shout out to you guys doing the commentary. Shout out to my teammate, did well, starting from the pit lane. And obviously, shout out to the man himself, Salvador.
What a legend. Elliot, always a pleasure, bud. Best of luck. Hopefully we'll have you back up here at the end of the night.
All right, cheers, guys.
That was Elliot Cotti bringing it home in second. But up next, the man, the myth, the legend, Ray Aguilar, the top spot. Ray, you guys look like you're having a ton of fun out there. Everybody pushing the pace. And once you guys got things kind of sorted out, relatively clean up there in the front.
Yeah, it was pretty good. If I could keep from making mistakes and kind of tighten it up a bit, I think I could have some consistent pace. There's a lot of fast guys out there tonight, though, so I'm looking to try to figure out if I can, I don't know, just hold place. I've been sick this last week, so I'm not in the best of shape right now. So yeah, I'm gonna see if I can't get it home during the feature race.
Well, Ray, with having the team advantage coming into the feature race, with your teammate starting third and Elliot putting pressure on you there at the end, what is the game plan for the feature race?
I think we're just going to try to, turn into a brick wall. I think Jaden's going to have to get by Elliot. He's got Jaden's wicked off the start, so I think you'll see us 1-2 going into the first turn. It's just going to be a wall after that. We're going to try to make sure we keep everybody behind and focus on strategy. I don't know what the move is here, so we're going to have to let the nerds with the computers try to figure it out and tell us when to come in and when to stop and what the fastest pace is there.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how this one works. Ray, you guys are expecting to put on a good show, and we're all excited to see it. Before I let you go, get ready for the feature. Who you want to give a shout to that helps put you up here in the top spot?
Want to thank my family, getting me through the week. Been all sick, so they've been all taking care of me, bringing me, the typical soup and things like that. And also want to thank TGS, night after night, putting on a good show. And you guys are the ones putting the butts in seats. All the fans come to see you guys, so want to thank you guys for coming out.
Well, thank you, Ray, and best of luck in the feature, bud.
Yep, love you too.
That's an always loving Ray Aguilar. He brought it home in the top spot. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here at League Zero.
Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out getgoodracing.com. I've coached hundreds of drivers from real-life racers to sim enthusiasts who experience rapid improvement after just one session. And while investing in top-notch hardware is great, imagine how much more you can elevate your experience by adding coaching to the mix. My methods are practical, aiming to break down complex concepts into easily digestible bits that are simple to understand. You can find reviews of the sessions I've conducted on the Fiverr link provided in the video description. Let's elevate your racing skills together.
Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Gaze. Look at that. There's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's. Possibly a little bit of contact.
Up now as we've got 3 wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Nice to go out here for Circuit Disqualifying Frank Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
See just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
Move stuck. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Welcome back, race fans. The intermission is winding up, and who do we have in the spectator area? None other than the world famous, the Italian stallion, Antonio Bianchi. Join us from the beach, he says. So good to see Bianchi working on his tan instead of racing in the overcast conditions here tonight. Wish we saw him out on track, but hey, a vacation sounds pretty all right to me. Looks like the grid is set. We're waiting on Eric Guillory, the number 95. Let's see if he joins here. I still see him in one of the driver channels, so I would imagine he'll be joining us. But here we go, Norman. It's going to be twice the laps, and I wonder if it's going to be twice the action.
I have that feeling it will be. I hope we can get through another clean turn 1, and we will have a heck of a race on our hands here tonight.
Yeah.
Guess we're up. He's finally joined.
There we go. Guillory has joined the grid. And we get ready to fire things up. So it's going to be 30 laps on the board here tonight. We will have the mandatory tire stop. But as always, no refueling in the Super Formula machine. So the gas you start with, the petrol as the Europeans call it, is the fuel that you will end with. A long grid procedure, it looks like. So here we go as the lights get ready to come on here, Norman, and we are getting ready to go underway for the Inca Salsa League Zero Super Formula feature.
As everyone gets off the line, we have no issues off the starting line. Let's see what we can get through turn 1. And everyone's through cleanly.
Yeah, look at that. Fitzsimmons quickly grabbed 3 positions early on. The field stacking up a little bit behind him. That's Peterson and Jace Meyer in tow. So Fitzsimmons, one of those drivers. Well, we lost somebody.
It was Rolls again.
Let's get the replay queued up here. I can't really fault. I don't think we can fault Rolls for that one. I'm not quite sure who he had contact with. But that's going to put Rolls back down into 19. So up front, it's Aguilar. Callaway made a quick pass early on up into second. Conti third. Brenner fourth. Finley, Fitzsimmons in fifth. That is a lot of previous race winners holding all up together here in the top 5. Conti looks to fire against Callaway. Does not want those top 2 drivers, the teammates of Aguilar and Callaway, to get a breakaway. Surely Brenner and Fitzsimmons have to be happy about that, running 4th and 5th. I don't think anybody wants to see Aguilar get a breakaway here.
No, and it looked like that was Bagby that got into Rolls, and it was a lot of...
And there's a caution.
Is that a mistake?
I'm not seeing where it would have been at. I didn't see any further incidents.
I didn't see any incidents, and yes, I did see the caution come out. I thought it was just a glitch on my side.
Says Norman, you're able to see the in-game everything, the chat and stuff like that. Was that an admin caution? Who threw that one?
It was Ray threw the caution.
Uh-oh. Did Aguilar maybe hit the wrong button, I wonder?
I think he did.
Norman, can we send you down the paddock to try and get some clarification from the drivers?
Yes, I will go try to figure out what is going on.
So as my counterpart and protege, Norman King, hops down a couple of channels to see what's going on with the drivers, try and get some inside scoop, it appears that Aguilar, the race leader, who is also an admin here at League Zero, might have hit a button by accident. I would say this is what happens when Bianchi goes out of town to take a vacation, but I can think Bianchi could do the similar thing as well. So we've got Norman joining us again. Norman, what's the word?
That was actually planned. The car was way too short on fuel for by 2 laps. So this is to help everyone make sure they can make it to the end.
Okay, I thought it was a major oopsie daisy, so still kind of was since the cars are grossly underfueled. Can we blame this on Bianchi even though he's out of town?
Yes, I think we can. I need to go check to see. I think they should have pit road closed here so no one can try to take a cheap pit stop, but I'm gonna go check on that too.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they allow the drivers to box under a mandatory caution here due to fuel saving. It's going to be interesting. I mean, I think that would be against the spirit of the race, but maybe the admins at this point are just going to say, you know what, whatever happens, happens. So we've got Norman down there running down to the pit wall to see if engineers are preparing for their drivers to come down for that mandatory tire stop. Could be interesting as well. Well, there we go. Norman, you're back. What's the word?
Yes, they did say that no one is able to take their mandatory stop now.
Okay,
so
good.
No one can take it. Pit road is closed for service.
I figured that was going to be the ruling due to the spirit of the race, but We've seen wilder things happen, so everybody's got the maps turned all the way down here, trying to save as much as they possibly can. Interesting enough, I see parts scattered across the circuit here, Norman, and I show Eric Guillory was involved in an incident.
I did not catch that. I do have to say the man that got saved by this is Rolls, who I did look back at that incident with.
Guillory hit his teammate Mayorga under caution.
Oh.
You can't do that.
No.
Oh my goodness, look at Mayorga's car. The back right is gone. It's held on by the tether. Mayorga is going to have to come down pit road. Guillory is going to get quite the penalization for this one, I think. Mayorga, more than a half lap left to go. There's the rule. If you take a tow, you're out. So Mayorga is going to try and limp it around, tricycling around the circuit here. I think admin decisions out the window. I think Mayorga is going to do everything he can to try and get to his pit stall here while we're under the caution, but that car could very well be done.
I don't think that's repairable. But we will see. Also, going back to the original incident on lap 1 with Rolls and Bagby, it was major net code, but Rolls catch a break here under this, having this mandatory caution to catch back up with the field, and is able to try to go racing again.
Yeah, a bit of a big save there. Now,
and Elliott's coming down pit road.
Uh-oh. Now let's see. Does Elliott take tires here? Or does he realize his mistake and kind of serve a drive-through penalty? I'd imagine the drive-through penalty would be less of a issue than it would be if he decided to pit under pit, or oh no, he is going into a stall. Well, the admins are certainly going to have to review that. Now, Arturo Mayorga also limps it down pit road, but that was fairly expected for the 55. He would much rather take some sort of penalty after getting tagged by his teammate under caution. But what's going to happen to Elliott Conti, number 23? I don't think there would be a penalty if he comes down pit road for another stop during this race. I think if he stays out start to finish, there's definitely going to be a penalty awarded. But I think if Elliott comes down pit road once more, I think that's going to kind of even things out and negate a possible penalty. What do you think?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe is he trying to take a risk and do some alternate strategy and try to get a little bit fresher tires, go a little bit deeper, and be on fresher rubber for longer than anyone else, and think that he can gain the time back. I do not know if that's going to work, having to try to get through, 15 cars to get back to the front, but we will see.
And I saw another incident reported. This time it was Eric Guillory and Rolls. Hopefully there's not more contact under caution here. I don't think it was. I think it was just a rapid slowdown of these drivers to avoid any fender benders. Now I'm very curious. Is this going to be enough fuel saving for the drivers, or are they still going to find themselves having to do quite the bit of fuel saving to make it till the end here? And Norman, I see more car parts scattered under caution.
What is going on? Oh!
What are these guys doing? So Gale Rolls tags the back of Guillory. Which, to be fair, Guillory did tag somebody under caution as well. Was that Guillory? No, I think, was that Elliott? I can't quite see. Somebody's missing a wing. No, it was Guillory. It was okay. Guillory who's going to be missing the rear wing now. And Guillory might have spun. Oh, that's embarrassing. So Guillory, I don't think knew he was missing the rear wing. Went to put heat in his tires, and around he goes. What a weird night. I don't know if there's a full moon here or what, but the safety car is going to come down pit road. I don't know what's going to happen here. The field's not set. Somebody just crashed at the start-finish line. Absolutely lawn darted in the inside barrier. It's absolute chaos here tonight. League Zero, sponsored by Inca Salsa. We're going to get a replay queued up, but I don't know what's happening.
Crazy strategies. These guys waited for the green flag and come down pit road to take their tires.
My goodness. So Zanave, Lakota, and Rolls down pit road.
Guillory spins without a rear wing.
I don't know anymore. So Aguilar's your race leader. He's 1.6 seconds up. Callaway second. Brenner third. Peterson fourth. Meyer fifth. I'm
lost for words right now. Is that a comment?
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm gonna get a replay queued up. I want to see who bended off the start. It wasn't.
Judkins, because he just Judkins just connected. Mayorgi just disconnected. Fitzsimmons yelling, "I'm stupid, I'm stupid."
Was it?
Fitzsimmons just disconnected. Was it Fitzsimmons?
Really? Well, let's get this queued up. Focusing on Fitzsimmons. Oh, it was! The former champion is the driver who threw it away on the start-finish line. Oh, Fitzsimmons is going to be beating himself up under that one. As we just watched an incident, Shazi Zuhair, Elliot Conti come to a complete stop. It looked like Zuhair might have lost it in front of Conti. I didn't see if there was any contact between them. Aguilar has quickly gained a 2-second gap over Callaway. Norman, what's the name of that song they play at the circus? I think it's called Entrance of the Gladiators.
I don't know the name of the song, but I know how it goes.
Okay, I think it's all on the forefront of our minds here tonight, as it has been a weird one. We've seen multiple crashes under the yellow behind the safety car. We've seen a previous champ loop out the car on a restart. We saw some pretty crazy strategies where drivers waiting for the green flag to come down pit road. No idea if that's even allowed or not, but you got to give them credit for trying. We just had Steven Lakota, number 3. He's going to have issues crashing and then taking a tow back to pit road. So what happens to Lakota? Throws it away, and he says, you know what? I think I'd just like to go home now. Hits alt 4. He's had enough. Looks like we still have 13 drivers out on track. I'm not sure how.
Yeah. This is a race that Antonio is not going to wish he missed because there's plenty of points to be gained tonight.
Xavier Zanave, and I think that might have been Rolls had contact. Yes, it was. That's going to result.
Round.
You know, there's not enough crash footage saved here in the replay queue as we get ready to see what happened to Brenner. Looks like it's going to be a solo incident. Looked like the exact same spot we saw Lakota have incident earlier. And Brenner kind of stuck in a hot track here, looking for a clean place to rejoin, but quite a white-knuckle moment there for the number 80. So Brenner's going to get relegated back to the 8th place spot. Peterson suddenly finds himself in a podium position.
Yes. We did get a comment from Mayorga here tonight. He just said he got hit from behind. That's all he's gonna say.
Mayorga, not a man of many words, but when he does, they are absolutely potent. Now, if we pan back a little bit further, a smidgen further, you've got Jace Meyer, Leo Delmas. They're separated by a little over a half second. Meyer's up 2 spots. Delmas also up 2 spots. Another crash reported. This time it's Jason Bagby, the number 63. Looks to be a solo incident. No damage to the car, so he's going to get it fired back up. And here we go. We've got two previous front runners really battling here for the 8th place spot. It's Brenner versus Kati. Brenner's down 4 spots, Kati down 7. But these are two titans. Go ahead.
I will say I did check the radar. There is no rain on the radar, so I don't know what's going on. It is not because of weather.
Well, I was thinking full moon or something of the sorts like that, but I mean, with how tonight's going, Cotty and Brenner battling like it's for the race lead here on the final lap. They're battling for 8th. We're 8 laps in, and we're fairly certain a large portion of the field's still going to be short on fuel here. Cotty taking back over the 8th place position. They're still 1.9 seconds back from 7th place. They're just shy of 18 seconds back from the race leaders. And in a race where we think is going to come down to fuel mileage, some of these guys are just hammering down, trying to make it happen. Leo Delmas putting the pressure on Jace Meyer. We saw a little bit of a blink there from number 20 machine. Hopefully Meyer doesn't have any connection issues.
I wonder if these guys just got a little bit too cocky and from the sprint race and just thought they had figured this track out and were just pushing a little bit too hard here in this feature here tonight.
Yeah, that might be what it is. And, you know, we joke about on the oval side that cautions breed cautions. Normally, that's not the case for the road course, but that might have given drivers a little bit of, like you said, false confidence to kind of reset and push hard, but doesn't seem to be working for most people. Leo Delmas was able to take over that 4th place spot from Meyer. Meyer's going to keep up the pressure here. As Aguilar, Callaway, Peterson, your top 3 really stretch the gap here. They're kind of enjoying the clean track and just rocking and rolling, it looks like.
Yeah, and I think Peterson is probably loving these guys battling behind him just so he can open up that gap to the final spot on that podium.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if anybody's able to track down Peterson. It's a long race, 21 laps left to go here tonight. As I can already hear the tires screeching in protest.
Yeah, it's going to also be interesting to these guys that pit coming to green flag. I wonder if they're going to have an advantage over these other guys. I did not. I guess I can. Yeah. So actually, all those guys are still way in the back. The only guy left on the lead lap is Rolls, and he is 1 minute and 12 seconds behind the leader, Aguilar.
So Aguilar will be facing lap traffic relatively shortly. You're right, that's number 19 machine of Rolls rolling around in 12th, no pun intended. Looks like only 12 drivers still out on the circuit. Eric Guillory's been in his pit stall for 6 minutes and 40 seconds. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get back out on track or if he even wants to at this point with all the bodywork we've sacrificed to the racing gods here. Jaden Callaway in second, clicked off the fastest lap of the race last time by a 125.49. And I'm seeing only one driver who has technically pitted. That was Elliot Cotti, but it was under the caution where pit lane was closed. So it's going to be very interesting to see if Elliot, surely he'll come down pit road another time.
I'm showing Rolls has pitted pit 2, and he is...
You're right. He's one of the drivers who dived down as soon as the green flag was out.
Yes, and he is 36 seconds behind 4th place. I'm thinking around 30 second or 37 to 38 second pit lane time. So he is still in this race.
Rolls a bit of a newcomer here at League Zero. That would be quite the accomplishment if he could pull that off. Now he does go a lap down here as he yields for Aguilar. But hey, we've seen crazier strategies play out. And I mean, especially in a race where I'm fairly confident we're still going to have a handful of drivers very short on fuel. And I think that's part of the reason why you're not seeing many drivers use the push to pass, as it does increase the fuel burn in these cars. Aguilar just kind of clicking off laps, very consistent up front. Callaway still clicking off burners behind. Now, AJ Brenner did come down pit road for a green flag stop and that mandatory tire stop.
Oh, I am sorry. I got that all wrong on how long Rolls is on. I was looking at his, guess his box time.
Yeah, he spent 1:13 from entry cones to exit cones.
Yeah.
And Brenner's in pit road right now for a green flag stop as well. He might be a good indicator of how this is going to go. But no, Brenner's been there a long time, 43 seconds in his stall. Brenner must have some sort of damage as well, I would think.
Yeah, that is very long. Now he's coming out with a 52.78 pit stop. He had something wrong with his car. As ever since Leo has gotten away from Iezzi, it looks like he's starting to track down Nick Peterson. So Nick Peterson is not a shoe-in for a podium here tonight.
Yeah, that'll be cool to see these guys eventually do a little bit of battle. There's Elliot Cotti making his way around Iezzi. So the number 23 will move back up into 5th. Jace Meyer coming out of pit stall. Now I'm doing it. Meyer in and out of his stall, 6.7 seconds. That seems more in line with what we're used to with these Super Formula machines. Jason Bagby, the number 63, he's down pit road for a green flag stop.
Rolls back into pit lane too, so I think his night is done. So we're looking at a pit lane time of 40 to 45 seconds. That's the gap you're going to need for these guys.
I'm wondering at this point how many drivers are going to finish this race. I'd be shocked if it's 10 drivers by the time it's all said and done.
We only have 10 drivers on the lead lap right now.
Yep, looks like I think I see 11 out on track. AJ Brenner was able to return to the circuit, but he's going to be down a lap from the rest of the field here, just kind of cruising around, salvaging points. And Norman, we're not even to the halfway mark yet, and it's been one of the weirdest League Zero races I've seen in quite a while.
Yeah, I'm wondering if some of these guys that came down pit road right before the green flag came back out, I wonder if they were on cold tires and just thought they had a lot more grip than they did and just wrecked it.
Yeah, very easy to do in these super formulas when the tires are getting up to temp, and that really plays into the strategy week in and week out with some of these front runners deciding when they're going to come down. Some drivers will wait till the very end, minimizing the time on cold tires in the remainder of the race. Some drivers will come down pit road quite early and just kind of get the warm-up laps out of the way. So we heard it after the sprint race at the tail end. I think it was Elliot Cotti mentioning, yeah, towards the end of this run, I could definitely feel the tires starting to fall off. So 15 laps of green flag racing seems to be where they start to drop down a little bit. Now we're 14 laps in. About 3 of those were under caution. So I think around lap 20 or so, you're going to see a large portion of the field who has yet to pit go ahead and start making their way down.
Yeah, as we watch this battle between with Peterson here, it's very interesting to see the different racing lines these two drivers are taking.
Yeah, Delmas trying to measure up Peterson to see what the number 24 is going to do, see if he can find a different line that'll gain him just a little bit more time, maybe give him a good run for the next coming section. But Peterson pulls it back to 3/4 of a second in his favor. So Delmas, oh, yeah, big moment there, especially for Delmas. He's going to lose a lot of time. And he has to be mindful. Elliot Cotti, the number 23 machine, he's going to try and close that gap here and see if he can possibly interject himself back into a podium.
Which, by what we've been told by the rules and regulations, is Conte will have to make another stop here tonight.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That's the right call. It's either that or face a large penalization from our steward. So better to sacrifice a little bit in the race rather than all having it thrown out the window. Now, Aguilar running very well up front, running very close times to what is a little bit faster times. No, excuse me. A tenth slower than what Callaway was doing in his second. So Callaway, Aguilar's teammate, running just a hair quicker than the race leader. So I think that's going to come down to maybe a battle of tire wear or fuel savings at the front. Aguilar, I've seen run pretty close to empty before in his Super Formula machine, so I'm not quite sure how that one's going to pan out.
Yeah, we also have to remember Ray has a pretty good healthy lead in the point standings right now. So being a competitor in himself, he really just is looking to win. But he also has to remember that that's his teammate, and they are in a very tight team championship battle here tonight. But got to remember that Fitzsimmons is out, so Elliott does not have his teammate to help him score points.
Yeah, Elliott's going to risk it all here. Now we're looking at a quick replay. Jason Bagby came out of pit road and just unfortunately threw it away there. So Elliott, I think, as he tracks down Leo Delmas, is going to be holding it wide. I think he's going to be a little bit more risky here to try and overcome the points deficit that his team is going to have after Finley. Well, that was almost something.
Yeah, that was a lot of people won't see it. It looked very minor, but that was a huge save there and could have taken out 2 cars.
Yeah, just a little bit of a bobble from Delmas. Does the micro lock up, gets back on the gas to keep the car pointed straight. Very good driving there. And as Norman just said, that prevented both Delmas and Kotze from having to go home early. So Kotze's worked his way up into 4th. Delmas now back to 5th. Carl Hartwell, he's down pit road for his mandatory tire stop. Callaway in 2nd, just set the fastest lap of the race, a 125.10. Only 0.02 of a second faster than his teammate Aguilar was going to be able to click off. But we're past the halfway mark here tonight, Norman, and I'm apprehensive. Are we going to have enough fuel to make it till the end? Or are we going to have a handful of drivers kind of trugging along here just to make sure they have the fuel and maximize their points? It's going to be a gamble either way, I think.
Yeah, I trust these drivers and their engineers on the pit box that they've been given the all clear that they're good on fuel. And that's what the organization did. That's why they talked to them about throwing that caution.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I just it always worries me when it comes down to fuel mileage. At least the drivers are aware of it. Instead, and especially with that caution kind of putting a punctuation mark behind the statement, really reinforcing to these drivers, hey, keep an eye out on that gauge. This is a possibility, instead of drivers running the first 25 laps and then realizing, oh, I'm showing a lap or 2 short here. So you're right. That could definitely be a saving grace, but looks like the battle for 3rd starting to heat up here. Peterson, for the first time in a long time, has somebody in the rearview mirror. That's Elliott Kotze, a half second off the gearbox, the number 24. We saw great racing from these two in the sprint, and I think we're about to see more of it here in the feature.
Yeah, as that hairpin has been getting everyone all night with lockups, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like drivers just diving in so deep here, and then realizing, hey, I'm coming in way too hot, heavy on the binders, and then seeing a lot of tire wear getting added to these machines. Every lockup, every time you put more heat in the tires, takes a long time to cool them back down, and it's very easy to get one of those positive loops here where you overheat the tires, you shimmy the car around, you wiggle a little bit, it gets more heat in the tires and just gets worse and worse and worse, and next thing you know, you're on the outside looking in as your friends are going by.
Oh yeah, I've been there many of times. And it's going to be interesting to see when Peterson is going to dip this car down to pit road. We know Elliott has to come down pit road again one more time, but I think he's probably going to run pretty deep into this run since he has fresher tires than everyone else.
Yeah, I think he's going to dive it in real deep into turn 1 here, side by side with Peterson. Each driver trying to muscle the other. Looks like it's clean so far. Elliott takes over that 3rd place spot. Man, these guys, no rest for any of them. They are pushing very, very hard here as we get close to the back half of today's main event. Or excuse me, the last 10 laps of today's main event.
Yeah, there was another lockup by Elliott there through the hairpin. It looks like the guys aren't coming off the brakes enough as they enter the turn.
Now, there was a crash just ahead of your race leaders. That was Carl Hartwell off track. He's going to go down a lap in the 79. Callaway's caught up to the back of his teammate Aguilar within 0.4 of a second. Callaway's been clicking off fastest laps of the race. Last time it was a 124.91. He might have the draft of Aguilar here, so we might see a mid to low 124. We wait for the lap time to update. And no, it's going to be a 125.3 this time for Callaway. So backed out of it ever so slightly, and now he's in a good spot. He's tucked in behind a teammate. He can do a little bit of fuel saving here.
Yes, it'll be very interesting. Like I said, I don't think fuel is going to be an issue, but if it is, he does have the advantage over Aguilar here, because he's able to save fuel down the straightaways. But also another advantage with these two drivers being teammates is they do not have to use their push to pass, so they are not burning more fuel, unlike these other guys who are actually racing each other.
Yeah, and speaking of racing each other, it's going to be 10 laps left to go next time by. You've got Aguilar and Callaway, teammates, first and second. I don't personally think they're going to really battle that much here. I think they'd rather lock up a first and a second, and if there's an agreement on who has a little bit more pace, I think they'll wave the other driver by. So if Callaway has the pace, I think Aguilar might hop out of the way by the end of this thing. Because I don't think they're going to be willing to risk a 1-2 finish no matter how you split it.
Yeah, I might be wrong in this situation, but I think through some of the talks that we've had with this team is they are a team first, get away from everyone, but if you have room, we're racing each other.
Oh, and they're going to come down pit road together here, Norman.
Yeah. I think they're given the green light to race each other, so I do not think they'll roll over that easy.
And it's going to be a great points night if they keep both cars here till the end. They came in tonight 30 points up over the Blue Passport Motorsports. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Team of Elliott Cotti and Finley Fitzsimmons. Cotti gonna get up front here as he stays out a little while longer. Peterson up into second, Dalmas into third, but everybody in the top three still has yet to box. David Iezzi comes down pit road, waiting to see if Shazi Zuhair, the number 10 machine, opts the box. No, he's gonna stay out a little while longer. So that only leaves 3 drivers out on track, 4, I guess, considering Elliott's going to have to come down pit road once more, who have yet to complete the pit cycle. 10 laps left to go.
Oh! As Jaden sends it sideways on pit exit, so it's going to open up Ray's lead there.
Get the replay queued up of Callaway.
I think it was in turn 2.
A little bit of smoke off the tires, tucked in behind Aguilar, out onto the hot track. Looks like he almost missed the shift coming out onto the track as well, so maybe he was trying to overdrive the car to catch back up to his teammate and the defending champ. And yeah, just on cold tires, a big tail swap there for Callaway. Gonna cost him quite a bit of time. He's now about 2 seconds back from Aguilar. As Elliott Cotti up front, though, just set the fastest lap of the race, a 124.83. We get a report, Leo Delmas, he's down pit road. Jason Bagby also coming down pit road. Now I wonder, how long is Elliott gonna stay out for, knowing he still has to pit one more time?
Or the big question is, has anyone given him that information that he is?
Yeah, that's fair. He could run this thing out here and think he's pulled off as what we call a big brain move, but surely that's going to get caught in a post-race review if he does go for it.
Yeah. Unless they inform me of something or a decision was changed, we're under the impression that he still has to stop under green flag conditions.
Yeah, I can't imagine a world where he would not have to pit again after the announcement that pit lane was closed under the pit cycle. And again, for drivers such as Mayorga that were hit under caution, yeah, that makes sense to allow a driver to come down pit road. Unfortunately, Mayorga was not able to restart, only completing 3 laps, 2 of which were under caution. So again, it makes sense for somebody in the situation of Mayorga. It does not make sense for anybody else out on circuit. As Elliott stays out for another go here. Let's see, it was a 124.83 last time by. Does he continue to improve? No, but it's close. So 124.96. And now Nick Peterson's coming down pit road for his mandatory tire stop.
Yeah, and with these guys talking about how long the tires did not last in the sprint race, I would think that Elliott would be wanting new tires here too.
Yeah, he's well past the window that he ran in the sprint. He did 15 laps start to finish in the sprint, was complaining about the tire fall off. We're about 16, 17 laps on this green flag run after the full course fuel saving caution. I mean, I'm impressed though, despite the tire fall off, still absolutely ripping it here today and really hasn't showed much sign of slowing down. And I'm trying to take a look here if, oh no, I was mistaken. I thought Shazi Zuhair, who just apparently bent it, was going to be an opportunity for third, but he has yet to pit as well. So let's see what happened to Zuhair. It's going to be a solo incident for the number 10. Little bit too much curbing, and around she goes.
Yeah, these cars are on edge so much that if you upset the balance of the car just a little, they are hard to hold on to.
So, with a bunch of different variables at play here, knowing that we're fairly certain Cotty has the box once more, in a perfect world, that would put Aguilar and Callaway first and second. Shazi Zuhair is fourth on track. He is yet to pit. I wonder if Peterson can somehow sneak home a podium here with all the shenanigans that have been taking place.
Well, right now, Peterson is 42 seconds behind Elliott, so it is going to be tight race coming out of pit road.
And that's assuming Elliott comes back down pit road for a second stop. Otherwise, it'll go to the stewards, I think. Shazi Zuhair's in his pit stall. Peterson up into fourth. Leo Damas now fifth. Aguilar and Callaway second and third. There are two closest drivers out on circuit. They're separated by about 0.8 of a second here. But they are 20 seconds back from Cotty. So if Cotty does come down pit road, it's going to be a very close battle for third, I think, between Cotty and Peterson.
Yes, it is. Right now, a just under 43 second gap, and it looks like 40 to 41 seconds is your average pit lane time.
Now, Cotty again set the fastest lap of the race on 124.35. So he's feeling good here as the fuel load continues to decrease. So apparently something's changed a little bit between the sprint and the feature. The tire fall off not quite as bad for the young British driver as he continues to set blistering laps here.
Yes, and he is almost a full second faster than Ray. So he is not out of this race just yet. I don't think he would be able to gain the time, but a mistake by Ray or Callaway, and he could be seeing a second place or even a podium or top spot on the podium.
Yeah, if those teammates start to battle intently for second and third, I think Elliott would have the opportunity to come down pit road, take that mandatory tires under green flag conditions, and get back out there and continue the charge. He's 20.5 seconds now ahead of Aguilar and Callaway, who seem to be kind of in cruise control here, both in that 1 minute 25 second lap time range. Really not pushing too hard from what we're seeing up here in the broadcast booth. And I'm looking here. Not many drivers. I'm showing 8 drivers on the lead lap. But I think that number is going to continue to decrease. That was Carl Hartwell, the number 79. He went down a lap to Elliott Cotty. And Elliott still staying out here, Norman. 5 laps left to go. I'm not sure if he knows about that tire call.
Well, this British team is known for their staying out till the second to last lap, coming in, getting their tires, and only doing 1 lap on the white flag on cold tires. And I think that's his strategy right now.
That
He's
could
got clean air, and he doesn't want to be back in traffic.
No, I can't blame him, especially after he's setting such fast and consistent lap times. He's been right around that minute 24, high minute 24 second lap time the last few times in a row. So obviously he's got spectacular pace, and the cold tires would only kind of put him in the wrong direction, I would think. I'm just very intrigued. I think what's most important here is he's gaining a lot of ground on Peterson, who's in that 4th place. I think that's where it's going to come down to, is Cotty versus Peterson for 3rd. If Cotty does come back down pit road, and he's gaining ground on the 24, so maybe the strategy could be working very, very well for him.
And here he comes. And
Yep.
I think he's got the gap to Peterson as long as he gets on and off pit road cleanly.
So let's pan back to Aguilar and Callaway. They're about 20 seconds back from Cotty. And then I'm very interested to see where are Elliott and Peterson going to be in relation to each other once this pit cycle is complete. Elliott driving to his pit stall here as Aguilar and Callaway take back over the race lead. Elliott's hit his stall. Oh, it's not a good stop, Norman.
No, it is not.
11.75 seconds.
Nick onto the front stretch.
We pan back to Peterson. Where are the two going to be in relation? Peterson was just about 5 seconds faster than Cotty with his tire stop. But it looks like Elliott really put the advantage into those new tires. But now he's out on track, out on surface with cold tires underneath him. It's going to take a little bit to get up to temp. If Peterson has a chance here, it's got to be now to hammer down. But Elliott holding on to a 4.9 second advantage. I didn't think he was going to have that big of a gap.
I don't either. Not to diss on this hardware, but I think our live timing hardware sometimes gets these pit lane times wrong. Because Nick was definitely 46 seconds behind, and he is still 4 seconds behind Elliott, and Elliott was on pit road for 46 seconds.
Yeah, the numbers aren't mathing, as the kids say. Aguilar and Callaway first and second, separated by 0.3 of a second. Doesn't look like there's too much lap traffic ahead. I think the next driver they would run into is Carl Hartwell, probably the number 79 machine. The last driver in the lead lap. He's currently 9th out on circuit. We still have 11 of our 17 entries out on track turning laps here, but it's been a rough one for the League Zero guys here at the Inca Salsa Series. A lot of drivers home early and a lot of uncharacteristic moments here today.
Yeah, you know, it always goes back to that old adage, it's that if, you know, you have a clean sprint race, you normally have a rough feature race, and I think that's what we're seeing here tonight.
Watching to see, Callaway still pacing Aguilar here. Just a few laps left to go. Aguilar wants to make it back-to-back and see what he can do with the points. He came into tonight as the points leader. This is a good opportunity for Cotty as well as Callaway to really get some points back in their favor. Callaway came into tonight 11th in points, so he is well outside the points running. So that may play into the factor of making sure Aguilar is able to secure the maximum amount of points here tonight to put Squid Gang Racing up further up front. As I say that, though, Callaway showing a nose there to Aguilar.
Yeah, and like I said, these guys...
Oh!
These guys are a full-on race. So I think they've got the green light. They're allowed to go at it here tonight.
Man, what a close call that was. Just a few laps left to go. Almost an impact there between the points leader and defending champ Ray Aguilar and his teammate Jaden Callaway. A huge send that ended up with Aguilar having to slam on the brakes there to avoid tagging the back of the 37. And as Norman just said, these guys are here to race, so the team is given the go-ahead, lick the stamp, and send it. As now we got to see Aguilar playing second fiddle for the first time here tonight. Does he have something for his young teammate, a former champion in his own right? Jaden Callaway is putting the hammer down and has put 4/10 up on Aguilar.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting here. The worst thing that this team could have happen here tonight is for these guys to take each other out with a team. They could pretty much put a good seal on this team championship here tonight with a 1-2, but we'll see what happens.
And it's interesting as well. I think Elliott, sitting in third, has a good opportunity to really gain and propel himself up into second in points after tonight. Oh, and they do it, Norman! They did the thing! They've wadded it up! The two teammates have ran out of talent. They have destroyed the cars. Callaway and Aguilar, a huge moment. Let's get it queued back up as we are about to see tragedy unfold.
Is Elliott going to have the time to gain back on these guys?
Surely he will. I think Aguilar and Callaway are going to be doing everything they can to limp it back around. I don't see how they could complete. I mean, honestly, though, in hindsight, I think they have to stay out. If the cars aren't meatballs, they're Callaway. He's crab walking down the track. He's done. He's finished. He's out. Elliott has waked and made his way up into second. Jaden Callaway takes a tow back to pit road. At best, he will finish in the 10th place spot. Jason Bagby, I don't think is going to be able to take over that position. So Callaway is going to lock up a 10th, a few points, but not nearly what he was looking for. Let's pan up to Aguilar. How bad is the race car?
It's tracking straight. Don't think he has a front wing. He's off the pace, but I think he's going to have enough pace to stay for this win.
What a moment. That's assuming Aguilar doesn't have a meatball flag right now. Checkered flag is out? We hit the time limit. Aguilar picks up the win.
I don't know what to say.
We hit the time limit. AJ Brenner, the satellite team member, says, you know what? We haven't crashed enough cars here tonight for Squid Gang Racing. Let's wad up a couple of more. So that's going to put Elliott Cotty in second. And Nick Peterson did, in fact, sneak his way onto a podium.
Now the question is, going back to that replay on that wreck, was Ray at fault?
Ooh, an excellent question there, Norman. Well, let's get the replay queued up.
Elliott was within 10 seconds, so if he got a 10-second penalty for this, Ray will be relegated to second place.
So Aguilar was going for the pass on the start-finish line. He's going to dive it in very deep into turn one. There's Callaway on the right side of your screen. Oh, I don't know, Norman. I'm thankful I'm not a steward, and I'm more thankful I'm not a team principal over at Squid Gang Racing.
And Ray goes over the top of his teammate.
Yeah, you don't see that every day.
That's going to be an interesting interview, and I do not want to be in that paddock.
So we're going to get everybody up here to the waiting room. And we're going to start with Mr. Nick Peterson. Nick, in hindsight, looks like you had a pretty relaxing race to other drivers.
Relaxing? I don't know if I'd say that. Leo was on my tail throughout the whole race.
Yeah, you guys were going back and forth a lot of the times, but I'm talking about all the carnage we saw elsewhere on the track. So yes, you had a high-pressure situation, but when so many drivers were going home early, still able to sneak up here to a third and really get a lot of points here for the 24.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to say I got more points than Antonio, hopefully now. But I was, Elliott coming out of nowhere. I knew he had to pit. I was like, oh, I've got this in the bag for third. And then he comes out in front of me, and I'm like, what? He's fast.
Yeah, Nick. So I know your teammate's not here to celebrate with you, but a boring race ends up on the podium. What do you have to say?
I'm just happy to be here. I, came into this race with no, view of if I was going to do good or not. I was honestly just learning the track, and sometimes it just is safe to drive and not crash.
Well, looked like it worked out well for you, Nick. Always a pleasure having you up here. Join us in the podium. Before I let you go and unwind from this one, maybe share a pint with Leo for a great race. Who do you want to give a shout out to that helps make it happen here tonight?
Yeah, I like to shout out my dad. He always cheers me on and watches these races, so I'd like to give him a shout out to him.
Well, very cool, Nick. Always a pleasure, bud. And hopefully we'll have you up here in the remaining 2 rounds.
Thanks, James. And Norman.
Hey, you did get a shout out. That was Nick Peterson bringing it home in 3rd. Up next, we've got Elliot Cotti. Elliot, we ran out of time here with the mandatory pace car, but were you thinking? I was thinking you had a really good chance of a win here after all.
Yeah, I thought at the start I was. Then the safety car happened, and I saw no one else was pitting, and I thought, oh, why is no one else pitting? But apparently, because I've got the game chat muted, so I didn't get the message that you weren't allowed to pit under safety car. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna pit. Why is no one else pitting? And then I get a message from Finley in the chat saying, in the text chat, saying, why have you just pitted? You're not allowed to pit. I was like, oh no, I've just thrown the race away. But I got 3rd, so it's alright.
You got 2nd, Elliot.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, because they crashed.
Yeah. Well, you pretty much answered everything that I wanted to talk to you about. So I guess you'll double check next time you have a caution to see if you can pit.
Yes, I will be doing that, definitely.
Well, Elliot, glad you're able to overcome, man. What a comeback story for you in the 23, scoring some much-needed points for the team. But before I let you go and unwind, who do you want to give a shout to that helped you put you up into 2nd place spot in tonight's feature?
Same people as before. Obviously, you guys, Salvador as well. Finley didn't have a great race. I didn't see what happened to him. I think he spun under the safety car restart, but yeah, just them people, really.
Well, Elliot, always a pleasure, bud. Hopefully we have you back up here the remaining 2 rounds, and congrats on a great night all the way around.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you, guys.
That was Elliot Cotti bringing it home in 2nd. But up next, Ray Aguilar. Norman, do you want to ask him a question? I'm afraid to.
I got to know what happened in turn 1 on the final lap.
We were sort of playing around. It was sort of some, horsing around. We were intentionally wanting to fight and battle, and I thought he was giving me the turn, and turns out I just brake later in turn 1 than he did. He goes out wide. I've not much practice on this. He goes out wider there and brakes earlier and carries more speed, apparently, and I hit my normal braking thing thinking he was going to let me by, and turns out that was not the case. Totally my fault.
Now, Ray, we noticed after the checker that AJ Brenner gave you a little love tap. Was the team principal pulling a Tony Stewart and saying, you know what, we just haven't crashed enough cars here tonight?
I think that was mostly what it was. Also, it's AJ, and he's awesome, and he just, he's got a certain energy level that you have to keep going through the race at that same energy level, or else he gets sleepy. So, I think he was just trying to keep that going.
Norman, what else you got for him?
So you were able to finish out that final lap. Were you worried about Elliot catching you?
No, I had enough gap. I was more worried about incident points and hitting somebody because I didn't have a front wing and that kind of whole thing. I wasn't super worried about the race or the points. We were just kind of trying to have fun there, and I don't know. I guess that's one way to win. If you want to look at it, you can have glass half full, which is, I kind of took out my teammate horsing around, and then glass completely full is, that's one way to win. As I always say, you make 100% of the shots you don't miss.
Well, you definitely missed 100% of the shots that you didn't take here tonight. So, Ray, super cool to have you back up here. Technically a back-to-back. It counts, I reckon. And you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout to that helps make it happen?
I want to thank Bohemia Interactive for keeping me out of the game. And I want to thank TGS for putting on a good show. I want to thank our league owner, Antonio, for setting the fuel properly tonight. And totally not being on vacation when he should be here. And thank my teammate for not being super mad at me and hating me again.
Well, nothing but love here in the League Zero paddock. Aguilar, always a pleasure, buddy. Hopefully we'll have you up here in the final 2 rounds and continue that great run you're having.
Roll Tide.
That was Ray Aguilar bringing it home in the top spot back-to-back here tonight, Norman. But during the feature, he was again accompanied by Elliot Cotti, and this time, Nick Peterson bringing up the top 3. It was an odd night. It was a weird night, but at least it was an entertaining night.
Yes, it was. And we will hopefully not have that much of an entertaining race next week.
Well, that was Norman King. My name is James East. On behalf of the Inca Salsa League Zero Super Formula Series, thank you all so much for tuning in, spending your Thursday night with us, and we'll see you at the next one. Say goodnight, Norman.
Night.